Alrighty, guys, we're gonna go ahead and go over this. Happy Thursday, last school day of 2020. I'm pumped. If you can't tell, I've got my Santa hat on. I got my ugly sweater on. It says Happy Lamaka instead of Happy Hanukkah. So just feeling festive today. Because it's the last day I have to teach in 2020, which I love what I do and I love all of you. But everybody deserves a nice holiday break for sure. All right, so we're gonna go over this. So this says get out materials for class, and then we were working on these while we were waiting for everyone to join. So write the equations given the following information. So m equals 3, b equals -1/2, write the equation. You all should be able to do this at this point because all you have to do is plug in information. So remember, we use this formula right here, y equals mx plus b, and we just plug in values for m and plug in values for b. So that first one, we've got m equals 3, so that's going to be y equals m equals 3. So instead of m, I'm going to write 3x plus b. Well, b is negative, so I'm going to write, because we're looking right here, I'm going to write -1/2. So y equals 3x minus 1/2. Very good to those of you who said that. All right, next one. We're going to use that same format. So we're going to use y equals 0.5x plus 12. And next, we're going to do y equals, so we've got m is 1. So I'm going to write y equals 1x minus 4. And some of you guys, if you guys remember from what we talked about yesterday, in previous days, whenever we have x by itself, there's just an implied 1 in front of it. So if for some reason you wrote y equals x minus 4, that's the same thing. That's totally fine. But because we were given 1, I'm just going to go ahead and write 1 so nobody gets confused. All right, and then this last one, we've got m equals 4/5. So I'm going to do y equals 4/5x. And then it says b equals 0. Well, for that one, we can either write plus 0, but remember we discussed this yesterday. We don't actually have to. We can just leave it as y equals 4/5 x because that's a proportional relationship. It doesn't move up or down the axis, the y-axis at all. It's just starting at 0. So those are how we do that. Remember, we just, whenever you see m equals 3, b equals, or m equals something, b equals something, you just need to plug that into that format. All right. And if you have any questions, per usual, go ahead and let me know. Type in the chat. You can message me privately. I'm just going to respond to someone real quick, and then we will get going. All right, let me go ahead and go to where we need to go for today. So this week's agenda, we've been working on test review this week because you do have a test due by the end of this week. So Thursday is today. We're going to do unit test review day 3. So remember, this is what's going to be on the test. I can find the slope from 2 points. I can find the rise over the run. I can match an equation to a graph. I can graph an equation. I can understand what m and b means, which is what we just practiced, and kind of I can write an equation when given m and b. That's also what we practiced. I can match a slope to a given graph, and I can identify slope types. So this is all what's going to be on your test. We've been practicing this all week, so if you missed a class or something, it's all already on Google Classroom. You can feel free to study. So we're gonna go over these. All right, so we're gonna keep going with our, what's it called? Review. So I can match a given slope to a graph. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We wanna be able to match a slope to a graph. So we've got 4 options. We've got m equals -2, m equals 1, m equals 1/2, m equals 2. All right, well, as I'm looking at this, guys, that's a positive slope. So which one can I cancel out right away if that's a positive slope? Type it in the chat. Which one can I cancel or get rid of? Good. So we can get rid of a, m equals -2, because that's a positive slope. It's going up from left to right. So we can get rid of that one option right away. And again, process of elimination is a super important test taking strategy. So especially since a lot of the options on your test and tests in the future are going to be multiple choice, it's good to build those habits up. All right, so we're left with 3 answers. So next we've got 1, 1/2, and 2. So we don't have 2 points, but if you guys remember from when we talked about all semester or all quarter, you can pick 2 points on your line, any 2 points. So I'm just gonna pick this one because it goes through our line and it's at a vertical and a horizontal line as well. So remember, this would not be a good spot to put a point because it is on our line, but it's not at a vertical and horizontal line. So I'm gonna go ahead and find, all right, here is on our line and it's at a vertical and a horizontal line as well. So it's at the corner of a box. All right, so we're gonna find our rise over our run, because remember that ultimately that's what slope is. It's your change in y. So I'm gonna start at the point furthest to the left. I'm gonna go up 1. So my change in y is 1. And then I'm gonna see how far I need to go over. My change in x is 1. And if we keep going, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, that slope checks out. So our slope is m equals 1 over 1. All right, we'll type in the chat, which one's the correct answer then? Which one is equivalent to 1 over 1? So type in the answer. Is it A, C, or D? Awesome job, guys. So B is gonna be our answer, m equals 1. All right. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you're stopping me, asking, typing them in. I can match a given slope to a graph. So we're going to do this again. So we've got a couple different options. Is this a positive or a negative slope? Type it in the chat. Good, so people are saying negative. Good, it's going down from left to right. So if this is a negative slope, which ones can I cancel out right away? Which options? So I've got A, B, C, and D. Which ones can I cancel out? Awesome, guys. We can get rid of C and D because those are positive slopes. So we don't need those. We can just, so again, process of elimination is your friend. So we're going to go ahead and narrow this down between -4 and -2/3. So let me erase my line real quick. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna, since we're not given any like specific points, I'm gonna find 2 points on my graph and figure out my slope. So I'm gonna start here because that is a point on our line where it's also in a vertical and a horizontal line as well. So it intersects our line and a vertical and horizontal line. Then I'm gonna go down my line. This isn't a good spot to put a point because it is on our line. It's at a horizontal line, but it's not at a vertical line. So we don't wanna put a point there. I'm gonna go down a little bit further here. If I see this, that is a good spot to put our point. So based on what I just showed you, go ahead and take a guess between A and B, or not a guess, hopefully you guys know how to find the slope, but is it A or is it B? And actually, guys, Miss Sprunger goofed up. So if you guys are confused about where's the right answer, oh gosh, sorry guys. The answer is going to be -2. You're like, B question mark? Yes, it's B. Sorry, and I didn't realize I did that. So, okay, I'll show you how to do it and I'll show you why it's B. So if we're going to start from the left hand point, we're going to go down 1, 2. So our change in Y is -2. We're going over 1. So our rise over our run, or our slope, is going to be m equals -2 over 1. All right, so then those of you who guessed B, yes, you're correct. I'm sorry that I didn't even include the correct answer. It's going to be B for this one. So -2 over 1 simplifies to -2. So the correct answer is B. Didn't mean to confuse you. I apologize for that. All right. Again, any questions, make sure you're stopping me. Let's go ahead and move on. So I wanted to go over this one more time with you guys. This is what we did this a little bit yesterday, but I wanted to do like 1 or 2 more examples just because I think it's worthwhile. So I can match an equation to a graph. This is an important skill. So if we're looking at this, you can do a few different things. First of all, we know that our equation is going to be written in y equals mx plus b format. So you can do a few things. You can look at m and you can look at b. So I'm gonna take a guess. Not take a guess, but I'm gonna pick one. So I'm gonna look at my line first. Is this a positive or a negative line? Type it in the chat. So is that a positive or a negative line? Awesome, guys. So it's going to be a positive because it's going up from left to right. So that's going to be a positive line. So if I know it's positive, I can go ahead and cancel out two of my options already. So look at our options. If we're looking for a positive slope, which ones can I cancel out? Remember, we're looking at M. Which ones can I cancel out? Oh, I guess I didn't crop the Y with this one. Sorry. So which ones can I cancel out if I'm looking for a positive slope? So I'm seeing C, A, somebody said D in the private chat, which is probably, and I'll explain that in a second. So if we're looking at our slopes, these signs in front of M, so remember this is M and this is B, if we're looking at this, that represents a negative slope. So we're looking for positive slopes, so C is out and A is out. If we're just looking at slope, both of these are positive. However, we can then look at our y-intercept. So remember, we look at our y-axis and say, okay, where does our line intersect the y-axis? So looking at that, let's see, if we start at the origin, we go down 1, 2. So our line is intersecting the y-axis at -2. All right, so if I'm looking at our remaining options, we've got B and we've got B. Well, both of those have a, what's it called? Y-intercept of -2. So that being said, we're gonna have to figure out what the slope is. So we've narrowed it down to 2 options. We wanna make sure that we can pick the right one between those 2. So I'm gonna go ahead over to my line. And remember, we wanna start at a point that intersects a vertical line, a horizontal line, and our red line as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this point because it's already on the y-axis and it also has a horizontal line. Then I'm gonna go over and find another point. So I'm gonna pick this one. You can really pick any point that you find that intersects a corner of a box, but this one intersects the corner of a box again. Like this one wouldn't be a good spot to put one. This one wouldn't be a good spot to put one because you wanna make sure it's at the corner of a box. And that's something that my in-person students still struggle with a little bit, and they're behind you guys because I get to see you guys every day. So we're way ahead of my in-person kids, but it is something that they still struggle with. All right, so we want to find our rise over our run, our rate of change, our slope. So I'm going to start with the point furthest to the left. So you're going to put your pencil on the one furthest to the left, and we're going to go up 1, 2. So our change in y is 2. Our change in x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our change in y or x is 5. So 2 over 5 is our slope. So which one is the correct answer then? B or D? Good, guys. It's going to be B because we have a slope of 2/5, and then we've got a y-intercept of -2. All right. I do think these are worth going over again, so I'm glad we did that because they're a little tricky, but I think the process of elimination and kind of eliminating some of your options helpful. All right, I can match an equation to a graph. We're gonna do this one more time. So first of all, is this a negative or a positive slope? Type it in the chat. Negative or positive? This is our last one we're going to do like this, so it's good practice though. So look at that red line. Is that a negative or a positive slope? Awesome. So a lot of you guys are saying negative. So that is going down from left to right. And I can go over a rise over one. I think it's easier to understand when I explain it with rise over run. So I might do that again towards the end of class, just so I can explain how to like get it right every single time. But that is a negative slope. So it is going down. So think about if you're going down the hill versus up the hill from left to right. All right, so that's a negative slope. So then if we're looking at, remember y equals mx plus b. If we're looking at that, and we want a negative slope, which one can I eliminate? Maya's ahead of the game. Good, we can cross out A because A has a positive slope because they have 9/4 and we need a negative slope. All right, next thing I can do for process of elimination, I can look at B, or that y-intercept. So if I'm looking at my y-axis, so my vertical axis, I start at the origin and go down -1, 2, 3, 4. So our line intersects the y-axis at -4. So then I'm looking for a line with -4 in the equation. So which one can I cancel out now? Good, guys, we can cross out B because B has a positive. B says that we would have it up here, but that's not where our y-intercept is, so we can cancel that one out. So we're between C and D. So we've got a negative slope and an intercept of -4. So we want to go ahead and find our slope. So I'm going to go ahead and find a point on our line that intersects at a corner of a box. So I'm looking right here. I was scanning my line. I was like, nope, I don't see one until I get to there. So the way that I would explain it to understand, to kind of think about, okay, if you can't tell which one's negative and which one's positive, I know, I like to draw smiley faces. So we've got, you're upstairs, you want to go, you're at a hotel, you want to go downstairs to see your friend. So, because remember, we're starting at the leftmost point and we need to go see our friend. So to see our friend, we've got to go down the elevator. We got to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So since we're going down the elevator, our change in y is negative. Then we've got to walk over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms. So our rate of change, or our slope, is -4/5. So which one is the correct answer, C or D? You guys make me so happy. Filling me with Christmas cheer. Or holiday cheer, whatever you celebrate. Awesome, guys. It's going to be D because we got a slope of -4/5 and a intercept of -4. Awesome. Oh, I think I was going to try and add an extra one for that, but that's okay. All right. I think this is our last skill we're going to go over, and then I want to talk about a resource that I'm going to give you guys for your test if you need it. I can identify slope types. So is this A, B, C, or D? And we're talking about slope types, and I will have all the options up there, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. So we've got a line straight up and down. We've talked about this several times randomly throughout the quarter. So when we've got a straight up and down line, is that positive, negative, undefined, or 0? Good. It's not going to be positive because it's straight up and down. Not going to be negative because it's straight up and down. So if we're thinking about this, you're going to have a vertical change. So if you're looking at like this point to this point, our vertical change would be 1, and then our horizontal change or a change in x would be 0 because it's not moving from side to side. And if you've ever taken anything in your calculator divided by 0, so if I take my calculator right now, 1 divided by 0, I'm going to get a divide by 0 error. So we cannot actually calculate slope or rate of change with a vertical line like this. So this is going to be undefined. Perfect. All right, I can identify slope types. What type of slope is this? A, B, C, D. Which one is it? Awesome. If you guys remember me talking about slope, me on skis. You know, there's like snow going around. I'm going down the slope. So I'm going down. So it's going to be negative, not positive, not undefined, not 0. It's going to be a negative slope. All right, I can identify slope types. Which slope type is this? We're narrowing them down, guys, but what slope type is this? All right, you can think about this as a hill or even like a ladder. If you had to climb up a ladder, you would have to go up it. So from left to right, it's going up. So that's going to be a positive slope. And finally, what type of slope is this? So I'm seeing a lot of people say D. Just to explain this to you, if we're looking for, let's say the vertical change, well, that line's not changing vertically at all. So our change in Y is going to be 0. So then if we look at the horizontal change, so the change in X, the 2 points that I picked out were, the change was 2. So if you take 0 divided by any number, so 0 divided by 2 is going to give you 0. So the rate of change is 0, and you can think about that as like if you're driving on a flat road, you're not going up, you're not going down, you're just staying the same, staying 0, not going up and not going down. All right. We're not done yet. We're almost done. But the reason I'm not sharing with you is because I'm going to post something on your Google Classroom really quick. And then I want to go over a few things with you. And then I will send you on your way. So 1 second, everybody. Oh no, this is my bell 1. I was so close, and I almost posted it at my bell 1. They would have been like, what? Okay, hold on 1 second. I will get there. All right, so let me share my screen with all of you so that you can see what I have just posted. Okay, a few things. Yesterday I posted your extra credit assignment. All it is it's super easy, and I put a smiley face next to it. 1, because it's extra credit, and I don't give out extra credit really ever. So if you want the extra credit for this, just make sure you click turn in and complete it. It's just like a few different parts of slope, and then it's 2 questions about the semester, how I can help you, how you can help yourself. But I posted this slope reference sheet. So I'm totally fine if you want to use this on your test. I'm I'm going to give this to my in-person kids, and I wanted to make sure you guys had access to it as well. So if this could help you in any way, how to find slope given 2 points. So this is that formula that we use all the time. Writing slope intercept form. So it's got from a graph from 2 points, graphs, tables, equations. It's got steps for finding slope. So it's got all sorts of stuff. So if you want to use that, go for it. If you want to use that for any of your assignments. So your unit test, you're going to click on the link, you're going to take your test, and you're going to hit turn in. Please hit turn in on everything, because a lot of people have not been hitting the turn in button, and it makes it harder for me to figure out where your assignments are. Also, if you do your extra credit, it's just extra credit on the test. So if you, it's just 2 extra points. I know it's not a bunch, but I mean, if it's out of 20 points or whatever, I mean, it'll help you a decent amount. So just make sure you get that done if you want some extra credit, and then make sure you take your test. I hope everybody has a great holiday. Do you guys have any questions for me about anything?